Welcome, citizens of the Imperium, to Household Heresy, a beginner's guide to Warhammer 40k. Through this Voxcast, we will be learning about the lore and history of the Warhammer 40k universe.
Our goal is to break down the lengthy and at times overwhelming story of Warhammer 40k as, through me, a fresh-faced newbie to this massive universe.
I'm Lord Inquisitor John Mark.
And I'm Acolyte Michelle.
And today we will be discussing the War in Heaven.
Part 1.
Alright, so, you know...
Some stuff,
but you don't know anything about...
Actually, I've never heard of the War in Heaven before, so that's the first time.
Yeah, so this is super new. Okay, so, before we start, there's a couple concepts you need to kind of understand when we're going into this. That is the concept of the material, which hopefully you understand.
Sure, it's the stuff you make stuff out of.
Yeah, and then there's the immaterial, or Imperium as it's called.
It's, like the supernatural realm.
Yeah. So...
I don't know, I'm just making...
Well, no, you're right.
The ethereal, the realm beyond, beyond the veil, where God is.
Well,
God is made of material, is it? I don't know.
No, in Warhammer 40k, gods are... It's weird. So... You might, like, from what you've kind of picked up from what I've told you, you might know the Imperium as also the warp.
Oh, okay.
But before it was the warp, it was very, very different.
Before it got messed up?
Before it got messed up. So,
I'll come clean. I know some stuff, but I don't know. Like, I know, like, the basis enough to, like, when I played some of the video games, I kind of understood what they were talking about.
Right.
But I don't know any of the deep stuff. I don't know, like, names very well. I don't know. I know there was an emperor, and he was a cool dude, was super powerful, like, and he made many versions of himself, and they all screwed everything up.
Well, actually, the War in Heaven is... So, a lot like how World War I in our time has a much more far-reaching consequences that we are still feeling today. The War in Heaven is something that has consequences that the current 40k universe is still feeling. Okay. So, the first thing... is the warp. So during this time, the lore says that two things. One, the barrier between the material and the immaterium was a lot thinner. Okay. And two, it wasn't a outright hostile place. Okay. It was sort of more benign and
I'm familiar with like barriers being thinner during certain times and stuff. So
it was more just sort of
kind of like the fairy circles and stuff.
Yeah, it was more neutral. Mm-hmm. Wasn't chaotic. If that, that works.
What was it like then? Like when you
it was just a sea of thought.
Okay, is that what the warp is? Is thought?
Yes, it is where thought and emotions and all of that become manifest.
Okay.
And back then it was known as the realm of souls.
Okay. Not exactly a place you really wanted to mess up, but sure.
Well, because in the 40k universe, like, our Judeo-Christian view of the soul is different than their view of the soul. The soul is like the... kind of hard to describe. Like, you can be soulless and still be alive. Okay. If that makes sense.
I know some people like that.
Yes. All right. So,
I'm not gonna name names.
The first,
Derek. I don't know a Derek. Don't worry.
If somebody named Derek is listening to this, you just messed up.
You have no soul.
So, first character we need to introduce is the Old Ones. Okay. These were a race.
Cthulhu.
No, that's what I thought too.
I know this one. Cthulhu.
No. That's what I thought when I first heard about this.
All the other ones I can't pronounce because they sound like sneezes.
Oh, Yog-Sothoth and Shub-Niggurath and Nyarlathotep.
Bless you again, I'm out of things to say to that.
Azathoth.
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth? I don't know.
No, the Old Ones were a race of ancient, very technologically advanced.
Okay, so they're the precursors.
Yes, they are very much like the precursors, and much like the precursors.
I don't remember where the precursors are from. What is that from?
Actually, like the idea of like precursors or...
I know Star Trek had precursors.
Yep.
Mass Effect did, because the idea is that those things come in and wipe out the world every once in a while.
The Reapers come in and wipe out everything.
Anyway, continue.
A lot of sci-fi universes
I said a word, and I know it's associated with something, and I can't remember what it's associated with.
A lot of sci-fi fandoms, universes have this sort of idea of like a super old, ancient, super developed race that started everything. So the old ones were, like I said, a highly technologically advanced, very psychically active.
Disappointed.
Race. A lot of the lore points to them being kind of like frogmen.
Oh.
In fact, in the fantasy universe, the old ones were apparently related to the Slan, which are these big, fat, super powerful.
Slan?
Yeah, they're like these big frog. In fact, they even one of the older rules.
I think I'd be way more interested in this universe if there were still frogmen.
There might be, but that's neither here nor there. But a lot of depictions and art of them have them as frogmen.
8 million babies at one time in a patch in a pond. I'm not interested.
You've got some strange. That's.
Look, don't kink shame me.
Heresy. I don't know. I honestly don't. So what the old ones did is they valued life. So the
opposite of what 40K is.
Yes. They valued life in all of its forms, and they would, when they, achieve space flight, they would go around and seed worlds with life. Not okay. Yeah. In some cases, they would actually try to nurture it, try to help
that goes against the Star Trek code.
The whatever it's called.
Don't interfere.
Prime directive.
The prime directive.
Yeah. So they would either try to guide their evolution, and sometimes they would just seed life and let it flourish in its own way. The next, I wouldn't call them race. The next kind of creatures that we need to kind of talk about
They're not a race? Are they just not intelligent? Or are they just like...
Let me explain it, and you can kind of make that judgment. The next thing we need to talk about is the Catan.
You mentioned them before.
So at this point in time in the history...
nothing associated with them, though.
They are basically these energy beings that feed off of the energy of stars. They eat stars. Okay?
Cool.
Basically enveloping the star and eating it until it collapses.
Galactus, but worse.
Yeah.
Well, better?
Yeah.
I had a question and I forgot it. How long ago is all this?
This is like...
before mankind existed?
Way before mankind existed.
How do they know this stuff, then? Did they just... I guess they just...
Well,
Game Workshop, is that right? Game Workshop?
Yeah, Games Workshop.
They were like, hey, here's some lore that nobody knows, but you guys can know it.
Well, a lot of the lore...
like a temple or something?
A lot of the lore that surrounding this has actually been kept by the Eldar.
Okay.
Who we will meet later.
Yep.
Much later, actually.
Yep. Space elves.
So... The lore, or at least any lore that I could find, doesn't really talk about this.
Which one were they? What are we talking about again?
The Catan.
The Catan.
So I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here and give a bit of sort of fan theory of what happened at this point in history.
2 minutes. Go.
Okay. So this is not canonical in any way, shape, or form, but this is kind of how I think this went down. So the Catan were these beings that would they would eat suns. And because, a star is kind of important for a solar system to function, and thereby life to exist in that solar system, they probably came into conflict. The old ones, yeah.
Old ones.
The old ones and the Catan. And...
it's not fair. The Catan they gotta live.
Yeah, but, it's like
it's not like they're gonna eat all the stars in the whole system.
They might have.
That's a lot of stars. We don't even know how many stars there are.
We don't know how many stars there are, but we also don't know how many Catan there were.
There's one Catan for each star!
Regardless of that,
did they reproduce?
I kind of think that there was sort of a conflict between them, especially if a Catan was in a system that they were trying to cultivate life in a very particular way.
I'm not yawning at you. I'm just tired.
Right. it'll come back later. This sort of conflict between the old ones. So there was a conflict.
Does it say there was a conflict, or does it just say?
So this is jumping ahead a little bit.
Okay, well, I get you said there was a conflict. Theory, but what is your theory?
Yeah, the theory. I don't know. Yeah, the theory that was there's. My theory is there's a conflict. They chased off the Catan, and the Catan will at some point get their revenge.
Creatures then? Are they just really big?
They're just
because they eat stars.
They're masses of energy. They have no form.
Oh, okay.
At this point in the history, they have no form. They're just these energy things. That's why I said it's like
they're the Cloud.
Kind
from the second movie. Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah, no.
The Cloud.
The Galactus Cloud.
Galactus Cloud. Gas Cloud.
Yeah.
Doom Cloud.
So that's why I kind of was like...
How do you chase off a cloud?
That's why I was like... I don't know if you could call them necessarily... I don't know if you could necessarily call them a race, but...
Yeah, I guess they didn't really... They were just an annoyance, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, stop eating that star. I'm growing something there.
At one point, when the Catan actually make contact with another race that we're going to talk about here in a minute, they state that they had a war with the old ones.
The Catan did?
Yeah.
The Catan meeting this other race. The Catan met the other race, and then they said, hey, we had a war with the old ones.
Yes. The reason why I say this is speculation is because we don't know if they really did have a war, or if the Catan are just lying.
Yeah. Okay.
So
apparently the Catan are smart enough to talk. So that makes them a race, right?
They don't. Yeah, but they don't communicate the way. It's weird.
It doesn't matter if you're still intelligent enough to have a sentient moment with something else. It means you're a race of something.
Yeah. Well, it's not clear if they were sentient before they changed to their metal bodies or not.
Okay.
It's very nebulous. Keep in mind, a lot of this...
How would they change the metal bodies if they weren't already sentient? How would they make that choice?
Some of the lore doesn't even say that they had a choice.
Okay, well, I don't know what you're talking about. All I see is a word that I kind of know, so...
So the next thing...
the old ones are out going, yeah, make babies, make new life, and then the Catan were like, I like to eat suns, they're delicious, and I get all my vitamin D. You get vitamin D from sun?
Yes.
Yes. I always questioned myself. And you think the Catan... No, the old ones were like, hey, you, get out of here. And the Catan were like, and they ran away, or had a war, and then ran away. And now we are wherever this next part is.
Yes. So the next
I summarized it.
The next race that we need to talk about is the Necron tier.
Okay. Necrons, yes.
Not yet. They're the Necron tier right now.
Okay, they're the centaurs.
What?
I don't know why. I'm picturing Necrons, but they're tier, and I'm not sure why that made me think they're like tar instead of tier, so centaur, so they're Necron tars.
No.
And now they got horse. Anyway.
Dead horse people. No.
Yeah, dead horse people. Zombie centaurs sound cool.
Okay.
Write it down.
Focus. So, the Necron tier were another race living in the Milky Way galaxy. They had the unfortunate
very busy
luck
galaxy
to orbit a star that was
nommed.
No, they were orbiting. Some lore says
do, so they go around the star and go nom 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 nom.
Some lore says that they were orbiting too close to the sun, or that the sun had grown.
Okay, that one makes more sense because if it was orbiting close to the sun, they would have.
That life would have never. That's kind of what I was thinking.
I don't know how. If this is like an evolution thing.
It is.
Okay, so they would have evolved to adapt to be that close to the sun then.
That's kind of what I'm thinking with this. So
it must have been the star was old and expanding?
Maybe the star was older expanding. That takes a long time. Yeah, another of my theories is that the star was currently being fed on by a Catan, so that could have caused...
Do you think they, instead of like, just it's like they're just aging it super fast?
Yeah, they're... Because,
they don't just stick a Slurpee straw on it and take it out?
Yeah.
Like an ager. Like, that's why it expanded too quickly, maybe?
Because as stars lose their mass, they expand.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They were sipping off a yellow star and turning it slowly into a red giant or something.
Yeah. And that's one thing. That's kind of what I think happened, but because it would make sense when we kind of put all the pieces together. The Necron tier were, since they were in this sort of bad place and the orbit or
Time
whatever.
to move!
Well, you would think that, but they weren't.
They weren't space traveling.
Space varied. So instead, they all got cancer.
Oh.
Yeah, the Necrontyr
bad sun cancer.
Yeah, the Necrontyr were a very short-lived race.
Okay.
Racked with all kinds of diseases and cancers and stuff like that. And so their entire society kind of was built around this idea of death. Either figuring out how to prolong it, like many of their leaders, they were obsessed with finding a source of immortality. That was a big part of their culture. But also, a lot of their structures were built more like mausoleums and tombs and stuff like that. Everything was kind of revolved around this idea of death.
Well, when you think about the aesthetic of 40K, it makes sense.
A lot of these guys' aesthetic, though, think Egyptian.
Okay.
So a lot of the pyramids. In fact, their leadership is known as the pharaohs. Like a pharaoh is their
so they're like
pharaoh.
Diseased Egyptian.
Yeah, kinda. So, like you said, after them kind of looking around, it's like, hey, this neighborhood sucks. We need to get out of here. Mm-hmm. So a lot of their technological focus was based off of getting off of this planet because it was bad.
You think so these guys are probably made by the Great Old Ones then, probably?
That's...
Does all life stem from the Great Old Ones? Because who planted the Great Old Ones? Just the way the lottery of lightning hitting the ooze.
The way the lore kind of suggests it is that the Great Old Ones and the Necrontyr, whatever process made the Great Old Ones, made the Necrontyr. It was sort of they
one got off better than the other.
Yeah, one got the lottery and got super psychic powers. The other got super cancer. Oh. So
everyone gets a prize.
Yeah, it's just not always.
One sucked.
Yeah. So the Necrontyr finally achieve space travel, and they go out into the greater galaxy as a whole. Okay. Unfortunately, the damage from living in
it's like genetic now.
Yeah, it's genetic now. So they're still very short-lived race.
Like how short-lived?
I think the lore says around 40 to 50 years.
Okay.
So about half of
what
humans.
Dark Ages. Okay.
Yeah, basically. So through their travels and starting to colonize other worlds, they come across the Old Ones.
Okay.
And they are kind of in awe. At first, they're kind of in awe at their technological advancements and the fact that the Old Ones are immortal.
Oh.
And so
are there a lot of them then? Do they still breed?
They might breed slower.
Kind of have that elf thing going on.
I think so. So the Necrons are like, hey, that's really cool that you guys are immortal.
Oh no.
How did you do that?
They're pulling a...
And the Old Ones were like, we're not gonna tell you.
Magicians never reveal their secrets.
Yeah, magician never
really, they're not immortal at all. They just have exact copies of themselves so they just step in. One dies and the one steps in.
So the Necrons are like, hey, can you teach us the secrets of immortality? And the Old Ones say, no.
Nah.
Now, I found a few...
Well, maybe they can't teach it.
I found a few...
It's just a part of them. Maybe it wasn't just I can't, nope. Unless it doesn't work that way.
Some of the different theories is that, because by their nature, since they were so obsessed with death, they weren't exactly the peaceful race that the Old Ones were. Mm-hmm. And so there's a good possibility that the Old Ones saw this race as not being something that they wanted to have immortality.
Yeah, but I guess could have been nicer about it. Maybe help them with their diseases or something. If they had all this advanced technology, you could have been like, hey, let's work on that, and then we'll see.
Yeah, it
doesn't it doesn't work like that. So, but these guys sound kind of hoity-toity anyway.
Well, it's possible that they may have offered them that. It's unclear. Again, a lot of this stuff is very nebulous, pieced together from fragments throughout the whole thing there. So, needless to say, the Necrontyr were not happy with the Old Ones. but there wasn't really anything they could do about it. The Old One's technology was leagues beyond what they had.
And so, they're immortal.
Yeah. So the Necrontyr, continue to expand out, and as they expand out, the same thing happens to them that happens with many empires once they spread out too far. There starts to become infighting.
Okay.
Different dynasties start to fight with each other.
Dynasties developing different cultures, feuds.
Yep. And
getting a little Rome.
Yeah.
Getting Rome going on. Getting a little United States going on.
Yeah, right. And so civil war starts to break out amongst the Necrontyr.
Yay!
Now, the main leadership...
Which one are the Confederates and which one are the...
I don't know. The main body of leadership for the Necrontyr was the Triarch. And they...
The what?
The Triarch.
The Triarch.
Why? It's
don't
what they
me.
call it. It's cool. And they were like, There's
a cool word. There's 3 of them. And they are arcs.
Sure. Anyways, they see this warring and infighting amongst the Necrontyr, and they know that being short-lived races, if they continue doing this, they will wipe themselves out.
Yep.
And the only thing they could figure out to bring all of the Necrontyr together...
Can I guess?
You can guess.
Blame the great old ones.
Ooh, got it in one. They needed an external...
They needed a scapegoat.
They needed an external threat to bring everyone together.
Wait, this sounds familiar.
Yep.
Anyway, continue.
Yep. So they decide it would be a jolly good idea to go to war with the Old Ones.
But they know they don't have the technology to fight the Old Ones.
Yeah, they do it anyways.
Okay.
So they do start to develop... weapons and stuff to fight the Old Ones. Do we want to die
slowly with a civil war, or die very quickly?
I think the Triarchs figured that if they
Maybe they could just swarm. There's a lot.
Yeah, if they could blame the Old Ones. And there was already a lot of animosity because they wouldn't...
Yeah.
They wouldn't share their secrets of immortality. They were a long-lived, prosperous, technologically advanced. There's that jealousy. Yeah. And it was pretty easy to whip everybody up into a kind of fervor about that. So they decided to go to war with the Old Ones. Do you want to take a guess on how that went?
They lost.
It went bad, yeah. Yeah. They got beat pretty severely. And were kind of forced back to their own, back to sort of their inner empire, I guess. And so now we go back to, and that was the first war in heaven.
It's very short.
Yeah, the first war in heaven. I mean, it probably took longer.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anything like...
You're not telling me any major details or battles or anything, so I'm assuming it was pretty short. Or one-sided?
Probably were some major battles, but they were inconsequential to the overall thing. So, yeah, probably short. I mean, what happens when, a bunch of people with rocks and sticks go against an army with guns?
Yeah. I mean, if you have a lot of people with rocks and sticks... Granted, it's kind of like the... Area 51 thing. Yeah, you think you can't stop us all, but they have a lot of bullets.
Yeah,
they have automated guns that can just keep shooting a lot of bullets.
Yeah, miniguns are a thing, and I've seen a minigun turn a forest into kindling. So
if you don't think the government won't shoot you down for coming on their land. Yeah, they'll shoot you down.
They will. Also, we've got some pretty nice non-lethal stuff that can take out a large group of people pretty quickly.
Yeah. Tear gas.
We don't use tear gas anymore.
Why?
It's
Is it considered Geneva Convention bad?
No, it's
mustard gas.
It's less effective than CS gas. And it can cause long-term damage. It can cause droplets to form in your lungs or something like that. CS gas works way faster.
We're really off topic.
We are so far off topic. Anyways,
return. So the Necrontyr
they get forced back.
Okay.
And of course they go back to, fighting amongst themselves again. Because, of course they
sound like a very violent race. For a race that lives so shortly, you think they'd try to not be so violent.
Life's short. Yeah. Live fast and hard.
The drow being violent makes sense.
Yeah, but, life's short. Live fast, I guess. I mean, we're pretty short-lived compared to, the universe is large and we're pretty violent.
What else? We don't have anything else in the universe.
Yeah.
So we have nothing to compare to.
I meant like the age of the whole
Yeah, but
universe.
like stars aren't battling each other.
It's true.
Yet.
So enter the Catanigan.
Okay.
While trying to figure out how to reunite their scattered remnants, one of the Necrontyr discovers something strange about the sun that they are orbiting. There is something else out there. Something that seems to be feeding off of the energy of the sun.
Hey, get off my sun.
And so, yeah, rationally, you would be like, hey, that might be a problem. We should take care of it. No, their first thought was, hey, we should go talk to that.
I mean, I probably would do that. That seems like my response. Look at that cool thing destroying that thing. I want to be its friend.
That's...
I say hi to animals on the side of the road, so...
Okay, fair enough.
I yelled at a deer once, just to make it not run across the road, and it didn't. It went the other way.
I know you did. That's actually kind of what they did, though. Now, they couldn't communicate...
You. Does it taste good?
They couldn't communicate with these creatures in a meaningful way.
Okay.
So, they were like...
Interpretive dance.
Hey, well, what we need to do is we need to make bodies for them.
Oh, no.
So they created, one of the technologies they had was something called necrodermis.
Okay.
It's a living metal.
Okay.
Okay. And so they constructed these bodies out of necrodermis and through some unknown means
sucked them inside.
Convinced them or sucked them in or something.
Slurped.
Managed to get them
They
into
slurp
them.
your side, you slurp them.
Yeah, managed to get them into these bodies. Now, the bodies that they constructed based off of the gods and their mythology. Right?
Ah, okay.
So
you got Anubis.
Well, kind of. They had things like the Nightbringer
Necro-Anubis.
And
Neck-Nubis.
the Deceiver and the Burning One.
Man, these guys don't sound like good guys.
Yeah, so there's probably a good reason why the old ones were like,
they're coded
no.
so bad. Like, they're like, man, these Necron-Tyr, look at these poor guys. Psych, they suck. Man, we can make you guys feel bad for them, but nah, they just suck.
Yeah. So
apparently, being crippled by your son makes you a bad person.
That's not the takeaway I would have taken from it, but sure. So anyways,
they're not very supportive.
They manage to convince or trap or however they get them into these bodies. And now they can communicate with them. And it's at this point that they tell the a couple things happen. One, they discover somehow they discover that there is a much more nutritious source, or at least much more tasty source of nourishment.
They've never tasted before. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, more tasty nourishment than that of suns, and that is souls. So souls taste way better than suns.
I'm thinking like they maybe in those forms they had probably didn't taste. It was just about just absorbing energy. Like there's like I'm assuming there's a lot of animals out there that like absorb stuff through like plants. I doubt plants go yum good. They're just like sun, water, let's make some photosynthesis. And then these guys are like, we have bodies now. What's this? Oh, this is delicious.
Yeah, so how they discovered that souls were tastier is, I don't know.
Well, maybe they had a very reactive reaction to being in a body, and then still had their slurping power.
Who knows? But
soul slurp.
So they discovered that they also are able, since they're able to communicate with these Necron-Tyr, they relay to the Necron-Tyr all about how they too have been wronged by the old ones. And man, what would be great is if we could help you guys out in fighting them. In fact, we could probably even give you the immortality that they denied you. And the Necron-Tyr were like, go on.
Go on.
Well, see, here's the thing. So the Catan known as the Deceiver was like, hey.
Go, Deceiver, use Soul Slurp.
here's what you do. So you know how you made us these cool.
His name the Deceiver. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and they trusted this guy. Don't.
Well, they get what they deserve.
Yeah. So you know how you made us these cool, awesome bodies here? Mm-hmm. What you do is you make a bunch of bodies, like one for every citizen in your empire, and then you take all of the consciousness and you transfer it into that metal body, and then you'll live forever. Mm-hmm. And the higher ups were like,
how did they not think of that? That sounds pretty legit to me.
We'll get there. And the higher's like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. So they do. Here's the thing. They transfer their consciousness, but not their soul.
So they got soul slurped.
They got soul slurped. They got 100% soul slurped.
Got deceived by the deceiver
and soul slurped. That is exactly what happened. So now they are immortal.
But they have no soul.
But they're also emotionless.
But do they care?
Automaton.
How do you miss something if you don't have emotions?
Well, it does. I think the average citizenry probably doesn't care. But one particular individual known as the Silent King, he was able to retain some of his
Skyrim names going on here.
Hey, I didn't write it. Is able to retain some sort of semblance of himself and realize that we
got soul slurped.
We got soul slurped. We done goofed.
Tricked by the deceiver. No one saw it coming.
Yeah, but I mean, you're locked into it now.
Yeah, because you have no soul to get back now. It's been slurped. So I'm going to say that so many times.
So as the Necron tier people are going into these big, they call them soul furnaces. These huge complex to have this process of biotransference done. The Catan are outside. Transference. The Catan are outside just
with their twisty straws.
Yeah, they're just gobbling that up, just
slurp it away.
Just slurp it away.
Slurp it away.
And they just gorge themselves. Absolutely gorge themselves.
Gets dummy thick.
Yeah,
actually, souls.
Actually, yeah, but we'll get there later.
Look at that Catan, it's dummy thick on souls.
Yeah. And so now with these new immortal bodies and with these literal star gods, that's what Catan means, is star gods. They're like, hey, now it's time. Now we're going to go after the old ones again. So
because they're hungry still, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And because
I bet the great old ones have a nice refined souls.
Oh, yeah.
Aged wine like souls that they just got to slurp.
And don't forget, there's all kinds of other races out there with all kinds of other, tasty souls.
You got to try some Chardonnay, and
yeah,
that's the only one I can think of. Merlot.
So the Catan basically are like, hey, you guys are
red wine.
Yeah, sure. You guys are all like immortal now. Now you can go get revenge on the old ones.
Are they really immortal?
Yeah, actually.
They're
immortal in the fact that they're robots.
Okay.
That's
not that immortal.
that live, that are made of a living metal that even if they take damage, it heals itself.
Do the sun god Catan rule them now, then?
That you'll have to find out next time. So, with all this happened, that is the start of the second War in Heaven, and also where we're going to end it for right now. So we'll pick up next time about this point, and you'll find out exactly how all this goes for them. Spoiler alert, it's Warhammer 40k. So bad.
Thank you guys for listening to Household Heresy and my adventure into the lore of 40k and all its Warhammers. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell button if you're listening to it on YouTube. And
leave a comment so we can... And if we got anything wrong, or if you want to expand on anything...
we'll get to it eventually.
We will. Leave us a comment, and we'll get back to it.
I was trying to make this nice and clean, and you had to make it muddled again.
I'm sorry. Alright, well, we'll see you next time.
Don't get slurped.